The girl went limp and dropped flat to the ground. Obviously, the bastard still says that if he hit her, he gets to keep her. But guys, the girl's game back up. The guy asks what's going on, how the hell was that brat getting up? And from the looks of it, she's not happy about taking that hit to the head. The friends ask if the guy doesn't even know how to use a bat if he couldn't blow her head off. And the dude says it doesn't make sense. The bat's all dirty. He definitely hit hard. Meanwhile, so he is wondering why he hit her like that. The guy gets closer again, saying that maybe this way will be better. But at that moment, she points her hand and says that if they keep coming forward, she's going to shoot. Guys, you three, you better back off, man. I can see you're about to get skewered. Obviously, the three side characters are excited to complete their part in the story. Then Soyeon remembers a magic book that Fairy gave her. This was a basic magic called bow and arrow. She didn't have to worry because whoever gets hit by it doesn't die. Normally, they just stay petrified for a short time. However, the second she fired, look at that red strike hitting. The guy's expression changed immediately, and Soyeon remembers that the guild guy warned her. The moment a returning comes back to this world, their abilities change completely. And she opened up a crater so deep you could see the two behind it. Do you feather on the ground just a leftover smear? And Soyeon, looking at her own hand, wondered why that happened. Back to our boy in the moment of the crowd, There was the dad holding that YouTube guy by the arm, all dead and wrecked. Everyone's asking if he's really dead. And not even his dad notices that Soyeon is right there watching everything. After Mr. Beast got bagged and the dad asks, why he's there and when the sister is. Our boy, kind of awkward, asks if he can even go out for a walk. The dad gives him a stare and questions if that's the first time he's seen a body. Our boy says yes, and the dad then says 4 out of 10. That was the mortality rate in the hunter industry last year. Out of 10 people, 2 suffer an extremely serious injury. Normally, what's left behind gets traumatized and pretends to be a hunter. And that pattern held for life, no exceptions for rookies or veterans. He had to understand that this was the kind of world he lived in. And one is to know if the boy was really confident and wanted to survive in something like this. Out of nowhere, Soyeon totally freaked out. Already saw he was going to whip out from fear of his dad and says no. The dad just puts his hand on the guy and says he's sure the son can't handle it. That's why the boy's all messed up too, curse family. Already outside the hospital looking in, he says it was always like this. He really doesn't have any ability and he's trying to deny reality or reject that he's weak. He used to watch his dad with all those hunters in their swag. Probably all dead. He didn't even know anymore what he wanted to do. At that moment, while asking himself for becoming a hunter is what he really wants. He sees his sister flying there, He gets closer, kind of uneasy, and quickly notices she's covered in blood. And there it is, she got that from their dad. He tells her to come down, ask her if she's hurt and what happened. Then Soyeon snaps out of it again and remembers the guys that her abilities could be dangerous. She starts repeating for him to come closer while he doesn't understand anything. But then she remembers the guy she blew up with the arrow shot, tells him to stay away, and out of nowhere a light explodes there in the middle of the forest. Sometime later he's knocked into a tree, all wrecked too. In the middle of everything, the sister is surrounded by a purple aura and someone is saying there's a person destroying buildings. She's going crazy, crying while Soyeon is asking if she's lost her mind, what happened. The poor girl is repeating to herself that she wants to stop this, but at the same time saying she doesn't want to stop and probably losing it. She tells him to get away, trees are being cut down, firing off slashes everywhere. Now I understand why that reporter said these returnees came from hell, they really do. The worst part is that some of you knew that using powers indiscriminately in the street would make her get executed. What was he going to do? He could try to stop her, although they're dead, but the police would arrive way faster than he could. That's when he thinks of something and asks himself if there's nothing he can do. But looking at himself, he knows he doesn't stand a chance against her. The best thing he could really do was run. In the end, none of this was his fault, but suddenly he seems to see a little kid there staring at him. But his sister keeps going crazy, saying she doesn't want to do this. When she opens her eyes, and she sees him running toward her with those tired chains, dodging everything, yelling, asking if she could hear him and telling her to calm down. At that moment, our boy remembers what his dad said, right, about the hunter mortality rate. He's not even officially a hunter yet and already risking his life. But at the same time, he came to the conclusion that risking your life is what a hunter does. Then he yells, telling her she needs to calm down and break free from that confusion. Soyeon starts to wonder why he was going so far for her. She was the same person he used to know. The fairy suddenly takes her hand and asks what the problem is. She was the heroine who had saved their world, but Soyeon answers no. In that other world, she was only physically an adult. She didn't have any friends and was dangerous. She had barely arrived and already killed a bunch of people, and everyone hated her. The fairy, though, says that's not true. At the very least, she'd never seen anyone risk their own life to save someone they hated. The chain gets close, and in the next scene, she throws the boy with her in her arms, crying. Problem is, the police are surrounding the place, right, so things won't go smoothly for him. Our boy sees himself as a little kid, all happy, and says that at least he managed to do that. Another dude shows up and asks his friend if she saw what that kid did. With that, the incident was handled by the police. They made sure nothing reached the news. But the obvious result is, right, Soyeon ended up in jail. The guard shows up and says visiting hours have started. While being led down the hallway, she remembers how much her mom cried as soon as she found out she'd be arrested. The guy opens the door and she thinks she'll be her mom, but who's there, It's her dad. She sits there all slouch, tries to explain things, but he interrupts and says he's there to get her out of that place. That one of the classes who came and spoke with her has the power to read people's memories. She was able to see in the memories that she was attacked first and used her power to defend herself. By law, that act of using force was justified, so obviously she couldn't be in prison for it. Since Soyeon's only from the fairy world, she doesn't get any of this justified action, use of force legal stuff, right? But the dad explains. Basically, it means she's not guilty and that's why she'll be released. Walkley, she tries to say she killed someone, but the dad says the person she shot didn't die. There are tons of users who can recover from any kind of wounds to be probably fine by now. Healers in this world are buffed, huh? The guy was, okay, fine then. But Soyeon is just crying, saying she feels relieved. The dad says nothing, and then the glasses woman asks if they're done talking. He's outside and says, yeah. And the woman explains that they couldn't pay the hospital bill, and he's definitely going to face punishment for that. The dad replies that it's all good. He's already relieved, and it'll end like this. The woman tells him not to worry since everyone there owes something to the great hunter Shinbek. What she wants to know is why he's so sure to say that. The person she attacked surely must have died. Shinbek says that maybe when she learns the truth, she'll be more emotionally stable. The woman says that makes sense and hands over a document, telling him to take it. Here, if he reads a document for his daughter, suddenly he frowns and asks who sent this. Apparently, that dude from the foreign showed up must have been him who sent this mess. Meanwhile, Soyeon can't even have recovered and is already back at his practice. The boy's great talent is throwing the chain that catches a can. He's standing in front of a guy there who doesn't seem very impressed. It wants to know who that crazy dude is, and the coach replies he doesn't know either. The guy says not to worry too much about him and to keep doing whatever they were doing. Soyeon though replies that he can't focus with a damn commentator beside him talking crap. The guy, however, asks if it's really because of him. As he's really going to say he can't focus in a real fight because of something so trivial, that kind of triviality would definitely happen in a dungeon. And if you can't concentrate just because someone's eating chips next to him, it already shows he's not ready. Right then, Soyeon steps forward and asks